Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
He was last seen alive last night, 10 p.m. This morning at 8 a.m., a friend found him shot to death in his apartment. We'll have the latest on the investigation.
Rain off to the northwest. It is headed here. We'll tell you how much to expect for Wednesday.
But first, breaking news out of Las Vegas. At an update a short time ago, police announced the shooter's girlfriend is now considered a person of interest in the case. Topping our news today at 5, the Las Vegas chief is also renewing a call for any clues about the shooting.
Let's get you caught up with the latest information. Right now, federal investigators are combing through the shooter, Stephen Paddock's finances. That includes a $100,000 wire transfer he made last week to the Philippines, the home country of his girlfriend.
But the big question left unanswered is a motive in this shooting. It left 59 people dead. Sarah Doloff kicks off our coverage from Las Vegas. Sarah?
Devin and Kimberly, good evening. As the city continues to grieve, investigators are becoming increasingly interested in the shooter's finances, particularly his spending and gambling habits leading up to the massacre.
Grief grows along the Vegas Strip. Overnight, the flashing marquees that define Las Vegas lit with condolences for victims of Sunday's attack and gratitude for first responders who raced to help the injured.
It was unbelievable how many people came in to help out that weren't working.
Today, a first look inside the hotel room where shooter Stephen Paddock said about his deadly rampage. Paddock is described as a heavy gambler who'd wagered in excess of $10,000 in casinos 16 times in the past few months. Officials say federal investigators are examining his finances.
The people he loved, he took care of. He didn't have a lot of friends. He was a private person.
He transferred $100,000 to an account in the Philippines, a country his girlfriend has ties to, in the week before the shooting. And on September 28th, he checked into the Mandalay Bay Hotel using 10 suitcases to carry 23 firearms. Law enforcement say he also purchased 2 gun stocks that allow a semi-automatic rifle to fire like an automatic weapon.
Believe me, I sympathize with everybody who's grasping. Who on this planet do you think is grasping for this understanding more than me?
President Trump spoke this morning on the deadly shooting.
He was a sick man, a demented man, a lot of problems, I guess, and we're looking into him very, very seriously.
As law enforcement processes the concert venue, littered with belongings left behind in the chaos, Las Vegas gathers to grieve the 59 lost and nearly 500 injured in the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history.
The president is scheduled to visit tomorrow to meet with first responders and families of those killed. In Las Vegas, Sarah Doloff, Local 4.
And as the investigation into Sunday's mass shooting in Las Vegas continues, we're learning more about the 59 people killed in the attack, the people who love them, and the stories of those who survived.
Those who knew them are choosing to remember not how they left this world, but what they did in their all too short time in it. Amid the grief, there are stories of bravery, love, and selflessness, where the absolute worst of humanity met with the very best of it.
It just doesn't make sense. She didn't deserve this.
I could not believe the human spirit and the kindness that everybody was helping everybody.
One woman escaped the gunfire by just inches. Look at this. She was being transported from the scene by a taxi when she noticed a bullet had gone through her cell phone. You see from the picture here, it went completely through the phone and she was not wounded.
Well, in the wake of the Las Vegas tragedy, one Detroit City Councilwoman is pushing to restrict guns in certain Detroit hotels. Certainly a tall order. Rod Maloney has the details of the proposal that was just introduced today. Rod?
It's still 2 days since the shooting in Las Vegas, but this country is still grieving, in mourning, very upset. And there's a lot of anxiety about what can be done. Is there anything that can be done? There's one city council member here in the city of Detroit that's decided enough is enough. City Council member Janae Ayers made her point today at City Council.
When leadership matters, that's when leadership has to happen. And that's what I'm attempting to do right now. It doesn't mean that there won't be hurdles. It doesn't mean that I don't understand what municipal government can do, but we can always be creative and find a start.
She's asked the city law and legislative policy departments to advise her on an ordinance that would restrict her monitor rifles and semi-automatic firearms at Detroit's hotels that face or are adjacent to public venues via registering the weapons upon check-in. Across the street from City Hall is the Marriott Rensen Hotel. From the upper floors, Hart Plaza could just as well be the Mandalay Bay concert venue. And just up the street, the same could be said of the new Crown Plaza Hotel near Cobo. The law department supplied her with a number of state and national gun laws, essentially telling her there really isn't much room for her to make something happen in this, but she feels compelled to try and do something.
I thought about Sandy Hook, and I thought about Orlando, and I thought about South Carolina, and I thought about Columbine, and I thought about the Aurora movie theater shooting. Those are too many things that we are thinking about that happen, and it shouldn't be where massacres and mass shootings are commonplace.
Now, she admits that she's had a lot of heat from a lot of people. This did get out, and she's had a lot of questions asked of her about this situation. But she says, look, this is a reaction, and it's a reaction that she feels compelled to make. And more than that, she says, it's a good place to at least start a conversation, and that's where she is. Back to you.
So, Rod, what happens now? What's next for the proposal?
Well, you know, it goes through the legislative process, so she gets her opinion from the law department and from the legislative policy department, and then they decide maybe to take it to committee and have the conversation start there. Whether it actually gets to council, whether there's an ordinance that actually gets to a vote, we'll have to wait and see. Probably not likely to happen before the end of the year.
Indeed, a tall order, but we know you'll keep us posted, Rod. We appreciate it. And our coverage of the tragedy in Las Vegas continues, both on air and online at clickondetroit.com. There you can learn about the victims in the shooting. Just click on the link right there on the homepage.
For the second time in a week, a truck hits a freeway overpass. This time it's I-75. Look at the scene down in southwest Detroit where the Junction Street overpass was damaged when an oversized truck tried to drive under it. Southbound traffic is now down to one lane while MDOT investigates the bridge structure. Still no word yet on when all of the lanes are going to reopen. But of course, meanwhile, the truck driver who struck the I-96 bridge in Brighton has now been cited for careless driving. His name has not yet been released, but we know he's a 30-year-old man from Waterford, employed with McAllister Machinery Rentals in Wixom. There were no signs of alcohol or substance abuse. The bridge has since been demolished. There is no estimate on when that bridge will be replaced.
All right, so here we are, the first week of October with sunshine and temperatures in the 80s. Man. But as we know, with all good things, it must come to an end eventually.
Such things are true. Let's get over to Ben, and we've got some rain coming, huh?
We do, and it's much needed rain. Remember, we picked up less than an inch for the entire month of September, and we were behind leading up to that point. So this is good news to see the green showing up here on the forecast map, but it's going to be widely scattered in the morning. Don't think this is going to have a big impact on the morning commute. We'll start to see a little bit more in the way of scattered showers during the midday hours, and then everything starts to get focused when the cold front slices through in the afternoon. Could be some thunder with that as well, but it should be all out of here for the majority of the evening commute too. So we're going to pack it in the middle of the day. Lows near typical highs tonight. We'll run that down for you. We'll check out the storm timing tomorrow and then also see more rain chances in the 7-day forecast. It's all coming up, guys.
Okay, Ben. Developing right now, a man found shot to death inside his Clinton Township apartment.
Friends made the discovery this morning at the Clinton Township Housing Commission on Village Road. That's near 15 Mile and Gratiot. Jason Colthorpe was there as police were searching for clues.
Clinton Township detectives have been on the scene here all day, all the way since 8 a.m. this morning when the body of this young man, 22 years old, was discovered in the residence behind me. Police say he was last seen here at his apartment at 10 p.m. last night by a friend. A friend showed up this morning to take him to Detroit and discovered his body. Police say he'd been shot in the head. The victim has been identified as Dominic Moore Jr., who was also known as DJ. Neighbors say he's lived here most of his life and was well known and liked in the complex, known as the Village. Family members and friends were clearly upset by his murder and did not want to talk about the situation, although Moore's brother says he was a good kid who went to college. The very latest on this, police tell me no suspects or a motive that they're at least not saying publicly right now. Investigators also talking to some witnesses in Detroit that I'm told are not being very cooperative, but we'll stay on top of this investigation as it moves forward in this murder case. Reporting live, Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
All right, Jason. We've got a stranger danger report this evening.
It comes from White Lake Township. That's where police say a man approached a female middle school student this morning near a bus stop near Mandan and Farnsworth. He asked if she wanted a ride. She said no. When he said he knew her parents, she ran to the bus stop and he drove off. The driver is described as a white man in his 30s or 40s with shaggy dark hair, driving a white-gray pickup truck with tinted windows. Call White Lake Police if you know anything. We're just getting started here on the news at 5. Nick?
A terrifying morning for a woman in this apartment complex. She wakes up to find a man in her room naked.
If I was a harder sleeper, he probably would have raped me. I don't know what his intentions was.
What she did to chase that man out of her apartment, and now what she wants you to know.
All right, Nick, also there's brand new fallout in the death of a Detroit teenager killed in the chase with Michigan State Police. Ahead here at 5, we'll tell you who's now out of a job.
President Trump is juggling two major crises. Today, visiting Puerto Rico. Tomorrow, Las Vegas. I'm Blaine Alexander with that story coming up from Washington. Plus, a look at how the gun control debate is gaining steam.
New at 6.
A local judge disappears from the bench as she becomes the focus of a criminal investigation. New at 6, what we found in her driving record that could be a factor in the case.
Take a look at these. They're wigs for kids with cancer.
I love the kids and I just want to help them. I'm not trying to cause any problems for anyone.
But these wigs and the name of the organization has created a legal firestorm. What's this all about? We'll have the answer.
All right, Rod. President Trump juggling two crises today, spending the day in Puerto Rico touring the devastation from Hurricane Maria as the gun control debate reignites in Washington following the deadly shooting in Las Vegas. Blaine Alexander has more from Capitol Hill. Blaine?
Well, Devin, President Trump is fully taking on the role of comforter-in-chief today in Puerto Rico, tomorrow in Las Vegas. But he is sidestepping the controversial gun control debate that is now picking up steam. President Trump on the ground today in Puerto Rico, surveying damage and praising his government's response.
I've never seen people working so hard in my life.
Among those greeting him, the mayor of San Juan, who had criticized the federal response as too slow. The president speaking to local officials, comparing the low death count to that of Hurricane Katrina, and also addressing the soaring price tag.
I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack, because we've spent a lot of money on Puerto Rico, and that's fine. We've saved a lot of lives.
As he left Washington this morning, President Trump brushing off questions about a topic now gaining steam, gun control.
We'll be talking about gun laws as time goes by.
But in the wake of the mass shooting in Las Vegas, Democrats say this is exactly the time. And taking aim at the apparent ease of converting guns into fully automatic weapons.
I don't know anybody who goes deer hunting that needs to retrofit a gun to fire hundreds of rounds a minute. And it's to slaughter people.
A different approach from Republicans. Congressman Steve Scalise, himself recovering from a mass shooting, calling for prayers. And from Speaker Paul Ryan.
We cannot let the actions of a single person define us as a country. It's not who we are.
Rather than jumping into the gun debate, Ryan instead stressing the need for mental health reform as a way to possibly stop future tragedies. And while Republicans are not talking about tougher gun laws today, they are pulling back on a controversial bill that was making its way through the House, one that would have made it easier for Americans to purchase gun silencers. In Washington, Blaine Alexander, Local 4.
All right, Blaine, you got a gorgeous day behind you there in Washington, and same here. Just an elite October day.
It really is. I don't even know if people know what to do with themselves. You know,
you got to go to work, I guess. You know.
Or skip it. I mean, could be doing that. Yeah. The record was 89. So we came awfully close
yeah.
today. 84.
I'll just point out Karen Drew somehow didn't
true.
come in
Not
today.
here today.
I don't know.
what
I'm
happened.
not saying. I'm just saying.
We should investigate that. 70s up north, though. Even that wouldn't be too bad, considering that the average temperatures this time of year are in the mid-60s. So a lot closer to those records than we were normal. Not too hard to see where the front is, and you can see those temperatures cooling off considerably. 56 in Duluth, 61 up in the Twin Cities right now. But before before the front gets here, there is some moisture that's pooling on here, and we will notice that in the form of humidity tomorrow. So even though we're anticipating cooler temperatures, you're probably going to notice the air is not going to be not as dry as what we've got out there right now. So 84 is our current temperature. Also a noticeable south wind out of the south, obviously at 18 miles an hour. Pressure is on the high side. It's at 30-31 right now. The radar is picking up some light returns here across parts of southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. This stuff should be drying up as we get closer to sunset tonight, and the stuff that's going to get us wet tomorrow is lining up along a front, and that's out here in parts of Wisconsin and into the UP. You can see some of these cells are starting to balloon up here, a couple of those yellows and reds showing up, and we will be anticipating at least a couple rumbles of thunder by the time that front rolls through here tomorrow. Timing wise though, most of it's going to be squeezed into the heart of the day. Pretty much between about 11 and 5 o'clock is when we're expecting most of these showers, and again some thunder, although no severe weather anticipated. The front should clear the area by 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. Then we'll be dry on Thursday before we see that front return as a warm front on Friday, and at least the model indicating could be seeing a little bit more in the way of wet weather as we head towards the close of this work week. But as far as rainfall amounts go tomorrow, this is Wednesday's total only. Again, not going to be huge drought busters in some of those places that really need the rain, but we'll call it a quarter inch here in the city. Some of our higher totals will probably be in our south zone as that front will be clearing here last. Lambertville, Luna Pier, Monroe, about 2/10 of an inch, but a lot of tenths and 1500ths of an inch across the area, especially in our west and north zone. That looks like more the general rule as we finish out the day on Wednesday. So we still could use more on top of what we're getting on Wednesday, but it is a start. 66 tonight. That's closer to what we would typically see for an average high temperature, but not rising much tomorrow with the additional clouds and of course that cold front pushing through. We'll call it 75 on the high side tomorrow, and getting even cooler as we close out the work week. Friday and yes, Saturday. Looks like we will be seeing some showers too. So we will add to those totals, much needed totals. Probably would not like to have them for football there on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. Big game.
We take it where we can get it. Will be a nice finish to the weekend. Mostly sunny and 76 on Sunday.
Beautiful.
Yep. Okay. Doc.
Well, Devin and Kimberly, the shootings in Las Vegas are a chilling reminder that we never know when we might suddenly find ourselves in a life or death situation. Would you know what to do to survive? I'll show you how to increase your odds of making it out alive coming up.
All right, Frank, but first, a Macomb County dentist charged with dozens of felonies. You won't believe where police caught him next.
This new product claims it can help you remove unwanted body hair, that it's pain-free and affordable, but does it really work? We're putting it to the ultimate test tomorrow, starting at 5.
A Macomb County dentist wanted for Medicaid fraud went on the run but could not hide from U.S. Marshals. He'll soon be coming back to Michigan to face charges. Dr. David Johnson of Chesterfield Township is charged with Medicaid and health care fraud. He allegedly used a different dentist's ID information to bill Medicaid from a Detroit dental office. Johnson fled the country, was a long way from home, arrested by Marshals last week in the Dominican Republic. He has waived extradition back to Michigan.
Weeks after revealing his company had been a subject of a massive data breach, Equifax's former CEO, Richard Smith, was in the hot seat today at a congressional hearing. Michigan Representative Debbie Dingell had plenty to say.
You can't change your Social Security number, and I can't change my mother's maiden name. This data is out there forever.
But it would seem to me that you might pay a little bit more attention to security if you had to pay everybody whose account got hacked a couple of $1,000 or something.
Well, the company's data breach released sensitive information of more than 145 million Americans. Today's congressional hearing was just one of 3 that Smith will have to testify in front of this week.
Recovering from a stroke can be a long and painful process, but there is a new type of therapy aiming to change that. Photojournalist Alex Atwell shows us how a little dance therapy can go a long way.
Yeah, this is gonna be different right here.
Yeah, you still got the moves?
Well, I try to.
You know, I think I can dance.
I danced so much before my stroke, and I still have it in me.
5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Today we are bringing one of my patients here to the studio to be working on some dancing. She suffered a stroke, and so her right side of her body is weak, and so this is a great way to get her involved in moving around, weight shifting onto that weak side, working on her balance, and something that's a lot of fun for her.
Yeah, move your hips if the spirit moves you.
For a person that has suffered a stroke, it lets you know that when you have a stroke, it's not the end of the world.
So that's the best part of it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm having a ball.
Doing things that you probably thought you never could do again.
But you can.
But you can.
Dancing and smiling and having fun, you know, that's the best therapy in the world. You know, a smile and a laugh, you know, and enjoy your day, it's the best therapy you can have.
Lock, step, cha, cha, cha.
Fantastic.
Dancing just makes it better, don't you think? Just about anything.
It really does, and I know sometimes, you know, it can be depressing to go through a stroke and afterward, but, you know, you just forget about it, it seems like, or at least they did. Very
Good
nice.
stuff. More to come.
New at 5:30.
It's one of the most popular toy stores out there. They do big business online. Now the company filing for bankruptcy protection. What does that mean as many of you start your holiday shopping? We have everything you need to know in my Help Me Hank report.
I'm Nick Manaselli in Midtown, where a woman was almost sexually assaulted this morning, but according to her neighbors, this isn't the first time.
And remember that 15-year-old who was killed after state police chased him on an ATV in this neighborhood? Well, the trooper at the center of that investigation has resigned. But is the investigation all over? I'll explain ahead.
Sometimes you.
Brand new fallout tonight in the death of a 15-year-old in Detroit who died after crashing an ATV during a chase with Michigan State Police. Topping our news at 5:30, the state trooper who fired his taser while trying to stop 15-year-old Damon Grimes has handed in his badge and resigned.
Grimes was killed back on August 26th. His death sparking widespread backlash against state police, who've now stopped patrols in the area where he was killed. Jermont Terry following this story tonight. Jermont, investigations into Grimes' death, they're still going on, right?
You're right, Kimberly. Just because this trooper has quit the force, it doesn't mean what happened in this East Side community is over with. In fact, the state police probe has been handed over to the prosecutor's office for review.
Trooper Mark Bessner handed over his badge and gun. The resignation comes only after Bessner deployed his taser while he and another trooper chased down Damon Grimes on an ATV. The 15-year-old lost control, crashed, and died after getting hit by the taser. The teen's death sparked protests and outrage by the community, and they are furious Bessner fired his taser from inside the squad car, and they are also upset state police started a chase with a teenager on an ATV. Soon after demonstrations, MSP changed its policy. It stopped all chases within Detroit city limits, and even went a step further by ending all patrols in the 9th District. Trooper Bessner was suspended with pay since the August crash and death as MSP investigated. But weeks into that investigation, Bessner decided to quit. And now we've learned 2 additional troopers on the scene were also suspended as the Post examined what happened. Despite his resignation, MSP continued with the probe and will still hand over the findings of the investigation to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. Grimes' family has already filed a $50 million lawsuit against the state.
And state police stressed that Grimes was illegally riding an ATV in this neighborhood when he refused to stop for the troopers. However, that teen's family insisting that still does not justify his death. We should also point out that there is no time frame as to how long it will take the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office to review this case. Reporting live on the east side, Jermont Terry, Local 4.
So, Jermont, the other 2 troopers, any idea what they were suspended for?
Kimberly's MSP is being very tight-lipped about why they were suspended, but we do know that their suspension is with pay as this continues to play out.
Yep. All right, keep us posted, Jermont. Thanks. Devin.
Tonight, Detroit investigators are trying to figure out who broke into a woman's apartment and tried to sexually assault her this morning. Happened at the Viewpoint Village Apartments on St. Antoine in Midtown. Making this story worse, the man was apparently naked before he ever got there. As Nick Monticelli reports tonight, it's possible it's not the first time it's happened.
Stories like this are not meant to scare anybody, but the woman who was almost sexually assaulted today wants people to hear her story so people know what's going on. And she's not the only one.
I'm thankful that I wasn't harmed and nobody in my house was harmed. I'm very grateful to that.
There is not much that can calm the nerves of Beatrice Reynolds after what happened this morning. A man tried to sexually assault her after breaking into her apartment.
By him moving the covers from me, it woke me. And when I looked up, all I seen was this big man trying to crawl towards me, and I screamed and started kicking, and he jumped.
Ran out of her bedroom, down the stairs, and out the door, all while Beatrice was hitting him with the only weapon she could find. This happened around 5 a.m. in her apartment in the Viewpoint Village complex near the Detroit Medical Center. He broke her screen and climbed in, and apparently did it all completely naked.
He ran out naked.
And there's no clothes left.
No clothes, no clothes. He didn't have nothing on. When I looked up and see him, he was totally naked.
This, though, apparently is not the only time something like this has happened.
It's very disturbing, very.
Michelle Hadley says a man fitting the exact same description tried breaking into her apartment last year.
My boyfriend, he did get up out the bed, and he seen him at the door, like with his pants down to his knees, naked. Like, it's just... It's crazy. Yeah, it almost happened to us too, though.
The Detroit Police Department is investigating this latest incident. Technicians dusted for fingerprints outside, but DPD does not have a record of any other problems. That doesn't mean they didn't happen, but leaders at DPD say victims need to call them so they can investigate.
Keep your doors and windows closed. Don't travel nowhere by yourself. Watch your kids.
In Midtown, Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
Now, unfortunately, it was dark, so Beatrice didn't get a really good look at the man, so the information about what he looks like does not help identify him, but police continue to investigate. Racist flyers are being found around the U of M campus following a month of anti-racism protests at the university.
These flyers are urging students to, quote, make America white again. Other flyers display the difference in black student enrollment between U of M and MSU, pointing to alleged disparities in IQ levels between black and white students. Last month, black students awoke with racial slurs written on their doors. This discovery of flyers echoes white supremacist messages recently posted around campus almost exactly 1 year ago. Arraignment for one of the four involved in the deed fraud case occurred at the 36th District Court today. Geneva Edwards was arraigned on 8 counts, including forgery and criminal enterprise. She, along with James Webb, Zavalar Weems, and Trinity Elbay, are charged with 53 total felonies. The suspects would collect money from victims and provide them with false home ownership documents. They allegedly took more than $21,000 from 23 victims. A car crashes into a building on Detroit's west side.
Early this morning, the car struck the building and flipped over. The factory is located on Schaefer Highway between Foley and Nelson. Police still trying to figure out why the auto crashed. There have been no reports of injuries in it. A U.S. district judge is ordering the country of Iran to pay Amir Hekmati more than $63 million.
Hekmati filed a lawsuit in 2016 against Iran seeking economic damages, compensatory damages, and punitive damages after being held in custody in Iran for more than 4 years. They have not responded. He's suing the Iranian government for torture and false imprisonment. A judge in Washington granted the default judgment on Friday.
Good health today. The mass shooting in Las Vegas and many other events in recent memory. A chilling reminder that any of us can suddenly find ourselves in the middle of a life or death situation.
That's certainly true. Our own ER doctor, Dr. Frank McGeorge, is here to explain what your priorities should be to improve your chance of surviving, Doc.
Well, Devin and Kimberly, clearly law enforcement experts have reliable advice on how to respond to an active shooter situation in terms of the run, hide, fight response. What I'm talking about is what to do medically if you or someone nearby is shot to increase your chance of survival.
There's a shooting at Grade 16.
And he shot right at people.
There's 2 people shot. 2 people shot.
Contrary to what you often see in the movies, gunshots aren't usually fatal, but what you do immediately can have an impact on both survival and the amount of disability during your recovery.
The best thing that you can do is not so much apply medical care to that patient, but it's call 911 and make sure we can get that patient to the next echelon of care and treat them.
Dr. Craig Silverton is a surgeon at Henry Ford Hospital, as well as a flight surgeon who served in areas that saw active combat. He points out the sooner you call, the more lead time help has to get to you. Plus, emergency operators can provide first aid instructions during the crisis. Now, if you're in a remote location or can't call for help, there are other important things to know. Uncontrolled bleeding is the most common threat after a gunshot injury. Usually the best thing is to apply pressure to the injury with anything available, from clothing to a clean maxi pad. Now the pressure needs to be firm and constant. Do not lift up the dressing to peek at the area. Every time you do that, the delicate clot-like warm jelly gets disrupted, causing the bleeding to start again. You'll know pressure isn't working if blood starts flowing out from the area of the material that you're using to hold pressure. Now, although it's the first step, there are times when simple pressure is not going to be sufficient. So coming up at 6, I'm going to talk about the next steps, in particular where to use a tourniquet and the proper way to apply one so you do not do more harm than good.
That is a danger with a tourniquet, isn't it?
Exactly. You have to know how to apply it properly, because if you do it wrong, you can actually do damage.
I don't want to learn about that, but I guess in this day and age, it's
important safety information.
It really is. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Doc. Well, the Royal Oak Fire Department held their annual Walk to School event today.
17th year in which firefighters and a few special guests joined students as they walk a mile to their school. We caught up with one student who told us some of the things she's been learning from the experience.
To make sure that you're with an adult when you're walking to school, because if you're not, then you can get very hurt, and it's very dangerous that way.
Piper Shepperly, what a great name.
Fantastic.
Yep, this year about 600 people joined in the Walk to School. Cool.
Like fun.
New numbers show money costs more than ever.
That's right, you heard that right. Why Americans are spending way too much money to get money.
Also, talk about a ridiculous gift. Why someone sent live alligators to someone he didn't even know, hundreds of miles away. Gatorgram.
Some of you may have already started your holiday shopping, but a major toy retailer filing for bankruptcy protection. What does that mean for the store and also for the popular website? We have everything you need to know.
New at 6.
A pair of carjackers picking out potential targets at one of Detroit's casinos, but they didn't know they were also being watched. New at 6, the takedown on the lodge that may have prevented another crime.
This moment had a lot of people talking. Now the Detroit Lions protest is impacting potential legislation. We'll tell you what Senate bill is now up in the air.
Okay, Coco, we'll talk to you at 6. Thanks. It's hard to believe, but it's time to start thinking about holiday shopping. And for one store, the company is hoping you'll shop brick and mortar.
Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy protection, but our consumer investigator Hank Winchester says they're working to bring you back in stores because company executives saying shoppers don't need to worry about going to Toys R Us. Hank?
Yeah, Devin, Kimberly, they're trying to get people back into the stores, even though Toys R Us has filed for bankruptcy protection. As you can imagine, many shoppers, I know it's a beautiful October day, but people are already looking ahead to the holidays, wondering, is it safe to shop here?
I don't want to grow up on a Toys R Us kid.
Hearing the tune, nostalgic for many Americans, but since Toys R Us opened its doors in 1957, the world of toys has changed dramatically. 60 years later, kids are getting more interested in electronics and parents are buying toys online. So it didn't surprise some insider experts when Toys R Us announced it's filing for bankruptcy protection with $7 billion totaled in debt. So what does that mean for you this holiday season?
You'll see your normal holiday sales because they can do business in the ordinary course.
We're told all of the 1,600 stores, including some in Metro Detroit, will remain open. But business expert Doug Bernstein says after the holidays, some stores could start closing up shop.
The problem is the cost of doing business the way they always have is much more expensive than an online retailer, and that's where they're not succeeding in keeping up.
If you do shop at Toys R Us or Babies R Us this season, there are a few things you need to know. Gift cards and layaways will be honored.
If you're going on layaway at least through the holidays, you'll be fine.
But pay attention because there may be store closing announcements after the holidays, and you'll want to use those gift cards at your local store.
You'll have a time period, but it may not be extended, but you'll certainly have notice of it.
And when it comes to warranties on those toys your children open during the holiday season and they don't work,
manufacturer's always going to step up and stand behind their product, whether or not Toys R Us is there.
And your in-store experience, it will be a little bit different too. The company is trying to reinvigorate its stores, making them a destination for shoppers. When you go, you can download an app that will give you an augmented reality experience, similar to the Pokemon Go craze.
They also will still have to be able to compete with Amazon. They have to offer something that gives them a competitive advantage.
Kids will be able to point the phone at a toy and it will come alive on the screen. And many stores will open up playrooms, areas where kids can test toys before parents buy.
If you have a question, you can ask, and they're right there. You can see, you can touch, you can play with all of the things that you're considering buying. You can't do that online.
Back out here live at the Toys R Us store in Madison Heights on John R. So they are working to make some of the stores more like entertainment destinations, but some in the industry say it just may be too little, too late. We're live here tonight in Madison Heights. Hank Winchester, back to you.
Well, and Hank, I guess I'm wondering if they make it through the holiday season, does that mean we've got store closings coming after?
Yeah, and Devin, most people believe that they will in fact make it to the end of the year just for tax purposes, to the end of the fiscal year, and then likely reevaluate in the spring. They've likely already identified the stores that will be closing, but they have not made any of that information public as of yet. Back to you.
All right, Hank.